If you're thinking about using the video software Hudl, or maybe you are using it, but you're not sure if you are utilizing it to its fullest potential, then this video is for you. I've been using Hudl as a volleyball coach since 2011, and in this video, I'm breaking down what it actually does, my favorite ways to use it beyond just showing athletes film of themselves, and pitfalls to avoid, especially if you're using it for the first time. And if I haven't met you, I'm Coach Bre. I'm a mental performance coach for athletes, but also a longtime head coach, 4-time state champ coach, and I get to help coaches build the mental side of their team while also building a culture that they are proud of. Let's get into it. If you're here, then you are either considering using Hudl for your team, or you are using it but not sure if you're using it to its fullest potential. No matter what sport you coach, if Hudl is a video software that's available to you, this is the video that you need to be watching. I have used it in my 14 years of coaching. I have used it when they first kind of rolled out some of their features to now how they have it, which is a lot more sophisticated. So I've seen it over the evolution, and I just want to provide you some things that you can cut through the noise with to know if this can be a valuable tool for your program. So first of all, what does Hudl really do? Hudl is a video software platform that you can use to record your game film, your practices, also get scout film from another team. So you basically set it up. You use a tripod, you use an iPad, or you can upload film that's recorded in your gym. So some gyms like ours have like a mounted camera up there that records everything that happens when a game is going on. You can upload that. And it does a variety of things for you. As a coach, you have a login. As a varsity coach myself, I use it just for my varsity team, but I could set up logins for my JV coach, my C team coach, and they could all utilize it as well. It's a little bit of an extra fee to do that, but you have your login, your coaches have theirs, and then each of your players has a login as well so that they can see film of themselves. So that is kind of the basics, but what's really cool about Hudl that I love, and I'll get into kind of the 3 big ways that I use it, is that it tags the plays. It tags by player as well. So we pay for a feature called Hudl Assist, which I do recommend. It's improved greatly over the years, but it tags every play and it tags every player as well. So what I mean by that is that one of my athletes could log in with their account. They can look at all of their hitting attempts. They can look at all of their kills, all of their errors, all of their serve receive passes, and they can filter it by skill and by rotation. Kind of, there's just a variety of filters that they can utilize, and it just shows them clips of it. I used to spend hours breaking down film for athletes, and it was such a pain, such a headache, so hard. Even using Hudl, back in the day to do this, when they didn't have this feature of tagging and creating playlists and clips and things like that. Now it's all done for you. You literally just send it off to them. They tag it, send it back to you, all broken down. You can also show your athletes films of certain rotations or certain skills. So there's a lot of really great functionality, especially if you are using Hudl Assist with it. So that is kind of the foundation of what Hudl is. It's kind of the main player when it comes to film recording and software when it comes to video. So like I said, I've been using it since 2011. I've seen the evolution of it. And here are the 3 big ways that I use Hudl in my program to not just show my players film of themselves, but also strengthen our culture, and we tie mental training into it. So the first big way that I use Hudl is to reinforce our culture. And what do I mean by this? Film is great to show your athletes what they're doing wrong, to show them what they're doing right, but it's also great to enforce the things that you have values around in your culture. So in our culture, we have a value around bench behavior. We also teach athletes how to get over mistakes fast. We use something called the snapback routine. It's part of our mental training that we do. And so we put a lot of emphasis on how fast can you recover from mistakes. And that's a mental training skill that you can measure, just like you can measure your attempts, your errors, your hitting percentage, all of that. How fast you get over a mistake is something that you can measure and you can see. And so showing athletes film of what our bench looks like, what their body language looks like when they make a mistake, and how fast it takes them to get over a mistake, all of that can actually be reinforced through film. So you can show athletes ways in which they're doing it right. You can show it where they need to improve. And so this can be a reinforcing thing for your culture. Now, another way that I love to use it is for game prep. Now, I coach volleyball. We've got 2 to 3 games a week. There's not a lot of turnaround time when it comes to scouting reports. We don't actually utilize a whole lot of scouting reports just in the day-to-day season. But when it comes to postseason, we do a little bit more. And also this really depends on the development and the talent level of your team for them to be able to digest and utilize a scouting report. But if you're there and you do want to give them some nuggets of information about the other team or even your team and like what rotations you're strong in, again, this is a volleyball example, but that's a really great way to do it as well. So Hudl will also tag and break down the other team. So if you have film of, in our case, we play each of our teams 2 times in a season. So we have film of the team that we played earlier in the season, and then we're going to see them again. And so Hudl will break down that side of the net, and we can actually see like, okay, here's what these attackers' tendencies are. Here's what they do out of different rotations. When we get into the postseason, there's some film exchange that happens between coaches. And so we can break down film of other opponents that we'll be facing, and we can show kind of, again, tendencies, attacking patterns, things like that. And so it makes it really simple because Hudl just breaks it down for you and it's just ready to use. So if you utilize any sort of like scouting report, instead of just telling them like, hey, number 5 likes to hit line, you can actually show them like, this is what her approach looks like and this is what it looks like when she's hitting line. Now, again, you have to be able to defend that. So it doesn't really do any good to know that that's what's going to happen if you can't actually defend it. But if that's useful to your team, then yes, this is a great way to use it. And finally, I love to use it for mental training. And if you're like, how do you use film for mental training? One of the main ways that we love to train our athletes' mental game is to give them an image of what they want to have happen in their brain. Your athletes, because they're human, have what's called a negativity bias, meaning we tend to focus on the negative when we're making sense of experiences or when they're nervous about something. When your athletes are nervous about something that could happen, their brain goes to worst case scenario and they're recalling the times that they messed up and they're kind of having that play in their head. And we know because of sports psychology that what you think about and what you focus on is more likely to happen. And so in order to have athletes kind of shift what they're focusing on and the image that they have in their head, I love to use Hudl's highlight feature. So I have them actually sit down and watch for 3 minutes. I carve this time out where they're watching their kills, they're watching their perfect passes, they're watching their aces. And again, apply this to your sport. I know Hudl is across many different sports, but having them have an image of themselves literally doing the skill is so powerful because then they're reminding themselves that, hey, I can do this and I've done it before. And so just having this little highlight reel is so powerful. And in our case, I coach varsity, and so not everybody has film in the game, right? Not everyone's getting the same amount of playing time. So we also film practices as well, so that athletes have an image of what it looks like to do well, and they're kind of building this like, oh yeah, like I have done this before. And then that combined with some visualization. So I also have athletes create a highlight reel visualization based on what they've seen that they have done in the past so that they can really put themselves in that moment, because we know from research that visualization, when done correctly, athletes actually can't know the difference. Their brain and their body can't tell the difference between real and imagined. So they're literally putting themselves in that frame of mind so that when they're out there on the court or on the field performing, it's like, I've been here. Their brain and their body is familiar with it, and they're more likely to do that image of what they see themselves doing well. So that's just one quick mental training tool that we lean on Hudl's highlight reel feature to strengthen our mental game on our team. Now, if you want other little quick tips on how to strengthen your athletes' mental game on your team in less than 30 minutes a week, like really quick things that you can be doing without adding a bunch of time to your plate or going and becoming a sports psychologist, because who has time to do that, then head to our free coach training where I break all of that down. So that's at coachfreetraining.com. I break down really simple mental training strategies that you can be implementing with your team. And then I also talk about our program, the Plug and Play Elite Mental Game. So if you want a quick, easy plug and play resource that you can use with your team, I'll talk about that at the training as well. So that's at coachfreetraining.com. Okay, lastly, I want to go over some pitfalls to avoid, things that I wish I would have known sooner after using Hudl for the past 14 years. Like I said, I've seen it from its like infancy to what it is now. It's way more sophisticated and way more expensive now. Okay, but we actually go in with a couple other sports in our building. So if you have the capability to do that, I highly recommend that you kind of like reach out to them and see if you could do like a package deal with some other sports. That's great. Same with Hudl Assist. We do the Hudl Assist Unlimited because we're always sending them game film and it's just so much faster for them to break it down than me. So I do recommend that, but it's an investment. But one of the most simple things is press record. I know that sounds like so simple, but as a head coach, you've got so much going on. And I had to finally delegate this to somebody else because I was like, the amount of times that I forgot to record the game is embarrassing. So I just finally like put it on my manager. It's their job now to record so that I'm not at the end of the game being like, oh, here's the iPad right here. We forgot to record that. Because now because the tagging has gotten a lot better, I use some of this for stats. Because you can go in and you can see all of your team's stats, serve, receive, side out, rotations, percentages, like all of that stuff is in there. So I lean on Hudl a lot more for stats. I kind of cross-check it with the manual stats that we take as well. But if you are using it for stats, you got to remember to record. The other thing is I use Hudl's like iPad case. You do need to have an iPad to record. Their iPad case is not great. Hudl, if you're listening, like you need to upgrade that. So I'm on case number 3. They're not cheap, but they are cheap because they get hit and then they fall down and then it's a whole thing. I have to buy a new one. So this season, I'm going to look into like a more sophisticated like situation for that. But if you are utilizing the iPad and then you're just buying like their case and their tripod, just know that like you might need a budget for a couple of other things. When you're uploading, it's best if you're connected to Wi-Fi. So like in our gym, we have Wi-Fi, so it uploads really fast. But if you're not, so like if we're on the road and traveling other places and then we're not connected to Wi-Fi, you have to then like connect into Wi-Fi. It doesn't like not upload, but you have to be connected to Wi-Fi for it to upload so that it gets to everybody's account. So you've got to like keep the iPad open, connected to Wi-Fi, plugged in. So you've got to do that so it doesn't like die mid-upload and all that. And then the tagging. Like I said, things have gotten better, but it's not perfect. So sometimes I do believe that it's like a physical person breaking it down. And so there's some human error to it. Meaning, like, if you're watching the film and it's tagging one of your athletes as the person who got the kill, and then you're looking at it and you're like, that's somebody else. That happens. And so sometimes they'll send you back the film and be like, we couldn't tag these like 38 clips. And you can sit there as a coach and like manually go through and tag them yourself, but it does take a little more time. And just know that it's not 100% perfect. Okay. So as a recap, if you're going to invest in Hudl, I do recommend it, but these are the ways that I love to use it. If you are a new coach and you're like, I'm looking at Hudl, trying to figure out how to utilize film best, you're probably in this boat where you're also doing some other things to build a program and start a program. And if that is you, I have a video that I want you to head to next. These are my 3 rookie mistakes that I made when I took over a program for the first time as a head coach, and the things that I wish I could tell every new coach to avoid. Please learn from me. So that's in the next video. If you are a new coach, or maybe you're a seasoned coach and you're just curious what they are, you're like, did I do those things? Am I still doing them? Go ahead and head to that next video because you're going to learn a lot there, and I will see you there.